You go, whatever you do, don't you ever forget where you came from.
Hey.
And I hope that not any one of you will ever forget where you came from and where your parents came from. Thank you all very much. Have a great evening.
I just want to point out how appropriate it is that having Senator George Mitchell as our Grand Marshal this year with this Irish flag in the room. Many people don't realize that the Irish tricolour is actually a symbol of peace. The colours chosen represent the two traditions of Ireland. Green for the Catholic and orange for the traditional minority Protestants, with white as the space between signifying peace. So 1848 this flag was designed and was used 68 years later on the morning of the 24th of April in 1916, when the Commander-in-Chief of the Dublin Brigade, James Connolly, ordered Sean T. O'Kelly to retrieve the flag from a cupboard in Liberty Hall. Now, the other thing I just want to point out, of course, we mentioned Geraldine Johnson and her family in the GPO. Do we have any Xavier High School graduates in the room? I think we have a few. One or two Xavier graduates. An alert Xavier graduate pointed out to me that a Xavier alumnus actually saved Thomas Francis Marr's life during the Battle of the Bull Run. And the Thomas Francis Marr Foundation presented Irish tricolours from the Mall in Waterford to Xavier High School, was one of the high schools to receive it. I think Colonel Tierney actually presented them. You actually sent me a picture of Colonel Tierney, believe it or not, over there. But I know that Xavier is actually going to march with one of those tricolours in the parade tomorrow. So now I'm just going to turn things over to Peter Sheridan. Peter is the CEO of Cooperation Ireland. He joined Cooperation Ireland in 2008. In addition to his role as CEO, he's a Quality Commissioner in Northern Ireland and also a Commissioner with the Londonderry Port and Harbour. Very interesting to me, Peter was Deputy Chief Constable of the PSNI in Northern Ireland just as the peace accords came in. He retired from police service in 2008, having spent 32 years as a police officer in Northern Ireland. So Peter is here to talk about his charity, Cooperation Ireland, but I think it's going to be very interesting to hear what he has to say. Thank you, Peter. Welcome.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Sean, for that introduction. It reminded me of an introduction I heard a few weeks ago at an event not dissimilar to this, where somebody who was doing Sean's job said, "Our next speaker needs no introduction because the scoundrel hasn't turned up." This Firstly, I want to thank the committee for making Cooperation Ireland the charity this year. We are particularly pleased as an all-island organisation that works hard at making sure in our peace and reconciliation work that we are inclusive of all communities, orange and green, Catholic and Protestant. And we are delighted to be part of this year's parade as the most inclusive parade in its 255-year history. St. Patrick was an all-embracing saint. He was a saint for all of the people of the island. If we were at the parade tomorrow, you would be particularly pleased at how inclusive it is. So I want to congratulate all those who worked so hard to make it happen. As previous speakers have said, it's a significant year. 100 years anniversary of the 1916 Rising. And I want to congratulate the Irish government on the sensitive way they have commemorated the 100 years to date. It is fair to say that we have a common history, but perhaps an uncommon remembrance of that history. As an organisation, we are committed to bringing about a common future. As this year's charity, I want to say something about the work of Cooperation Ireland so that you know where your kind generosity will go. But before that, could I perhaps welcome at this stage some of the board members of Cooperation Ireland here in the United States and some who have travelled from the UK and Ireland. They are seated over at table 23. A particular welcome to John Griffin from Irish TV. Who through his personal generosity has provided young people from both sides of the community, from marginalised community, with a better opportunity for a better life. John, thank you very much. For those of you who want to watch the parade live on Irish TV, it goes out to 120 countries live tomorrow. I also want to thank Mary Heaney from our UK Ireland board for travelling over here to be with us. Although an extremely busy lawyer, she finds time every year to raise funds for our work. And to date she has raised almost $1 million and has helped fund work with young people. Thank you very much, Mary. To Donald, as Donald enters our table host tonight, and all the board members of Cooperation Ireland are very welcome. Now, it's probably not a good idea as a former police officer to say in public that you know something about all the honorees and probably more than they do about me. But I do know them, having met them over the years, but also as a citizen observing them from a distance. And in looking across all of them, they're obviously very different individuals, but I wondered what they had in common. What was it about them that made them successful in helping to build the peace process? You could, of course, say it was their leadership, but it was not the type of leadership that was about their position or a formal authority. It was about their passion for making a difference. It was about their ability to persuade rather than command. It was about quiet diplomacy and determination. I'll only be a few minutes, folks, if you give me your attention just for a few minutes. All of them had the ability to instill optimism and self-confidence, but yet they remained grounded in reality. They had the ability to remain optimistic in the face of daunting adversity, and all of us know that there was plenty of that in the peace process. But all of them had the capacity to look at the odds that were impossible, but yet they believed that it was possible to win and to convince others that they were right. Many people see the prize as the Good Friday Agreement or the Belfast Agreement, but it was because of their efforts that there are probably 2,000 people alive today and tens of thousands of people uninjured across the island of Ireland. Although sadly yesterday we had the tragic death of a prison officer who was injured 12 days ago when a bomb was planted under his car. So we still need to energise ourselves, as Senator Mitchell said, to persuade those who see killing other Irishmen as a good idea there really are only two big challenges in the world. How we get on with other people, our neighbours, and how we get on with our environment. Every other challenge can come from that. As a peace-building organisation, we are committed to underpinning the Good Friday Agreement by promoting reconciliation between all our people, of finding a way that whatever our differences, we live together like citizens and not enemies. I am very keen to find the next George Mitchell, Niall Dowd, Bruce Morrison, Brian O'Dwyer, Christopher Hyland. Senator Mitchell said it in his remarks that people need to energise themselves to continue to prosecute the Irish peace process until its end. In my policing career and in my work in Cooperation Ireland, I discovered three types of people: makers, watchers and wanderers. There are people in life who make things happen. There are people in life who watch what's happening. They know what's happening. They probably don't add a huge amount of value. Watch what's happening. And then there are the wanderers, people who wondered how we got here. All of our honorees tonight were makers. And I want to find the next makers in this room who follow on that work of those people who spent their lifetime ensuring that 2,000 people weren't killed over the last 20 years in Northern Ireland. The peace process is still not complete, but it has an enormously important message that it can send to other conflicts around the world, that seemingly intractable problems can be resolved. Of course we cannot map the peace process in Ireland on around every other conflict around the world, but we can share what we learned. We can share the mistakes that we made that took us so long. We can demonstrate the art of optimism, the art of persuasion, the sticking at it that can change things for the better. So if you want to help, as Senator Mitchell said, big or small, my board members will be delighted to give you their cards at table 23. This year we have launched our Global Ambassador Programme. If you'd like to be an ambassador for the work of Cooperation Ireland, wherever you are, no matter how big or small that work can be, please see our board member Mary Healy, who is here this evening at table 23. So finally, just a bit about the organisation so that you know where your contribution is going to. We are very fortunate in that the patrons of Cooperation Ireland are the President of Ireland and the Queen. We're the only organisation that has both members as our patrons. And those of you who watched the peace process develop will know that Her Majesty visited the Republic of Ireland for the first time in 65 years of her reign, and the President of Ireland visited the UK for the first time in history. As an organisation, we were very closely involved with both those events. The first time the Queen and President McAleese met were in my chairman's house in London as a precursor to the subsequent visit. I'm very grateful that I have a broad, diverse board, a separate board in the United States and a separate board in the UK, where former Taoiseach John Bruton is my vice chairman and Christopher Moran is my chairman out of Dublin. We were also closely involved and facilitated that seminal moment when Martin McGuinness met Her Majesty the Queen. And most recently with Prince Charles and Gerry Adams shared a cup of tea in Mullaghmore where his great-grandfather had been murdered. Those are important parts of building a peace process. And a peace process has to be built and pinched from both the top and the bottom. At the grassroots level, we have 23 programmes working with young people right across the island of Ireland, and I'm delighted that our partners in American Ireland Funds, Pat Tully and Kyle Clifford are here this evening, who are a contributor to the work of We are a non-government organisation, and so we rely on events like this. We rely on riding bicycles between Dublin and Belfast to raise funds, although we are a beneficiary from the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, and delighted that Barbara Jones is here this evening. So in closing, congratulations to the honorees, but I who are the next honorees in this room? Are you a maker